Hey, welcome to my channel. Today's video is a success story, and I always think long and hard before I put success stories up, and I don't put tons of them up. And the reason for that is, although they are very encouraging, sometimes people do get frustrated. They see a success story and they love it, and then they wonder why it's not happening for them, and it has that sort of negative effect. But this was such a great story and such a simple story, and it absolutely proves that circumstances do not matter. And I thought, I never approach a member. If you're thinking of becoming a member, I would never approach you if you have a success and say, would you share it? Would you let me share it? Never do that, because it's a very personal thing, and I don't want people to feel awkward and feel like they have to say yes. But Trudy approached me herself and said, would you share this story? Because I think it would be really encouraging, because she just couldn't believe that it happened. So I'm going to just kick off with the story. So we're going with circumstances don't matter here, and this proves it. So Trudy was in a relationship years ago. I'm talking about 30 odd years ago, and she was crazy about the person in question, and it didn't work out for one reason or another. We didn't really get into that. I didn't need to know that, and she wasn't. I don't think it split badly or anything like that, because she wasn't holding on to any resentment or anything like that. So, but she had recently got divorced, and she's just started, like you do, you get nostalgic, don't you? And you look back at old times and you kind of see them differently than they probably were at the time. And she was thinking about this guy that she had been seeing, that she was really crazy about him. And she wondered what he was doing. She'd looked him up on Facebook and, other social media, I guess, and she couldn't find him. So she knew nothing about him. He didn't live locally. She knew that he'd moved away, still within the UK, but she had no idea where he'd gone. There was no friends that she could ask, and she didn't really want to do that anyway, because she didn't want to show that she had this interest in just getting back in touch with him. She did not sort of want anything from it. She had no expectations of it being anything. Now, I must say that she came to me really not that long ago, and she really had just heard of the law of attraction. Her friend had spoken to her about it. She thought, what's that? She started to do some research. She found one of my videos, but she wasn't wholly convinced. I have to say, she wasn't. She just she is a believer in God, and that's absolutely fine, because how do I know that this is not God? So you can still work with this, I believe, whatever you think it is. But she knew that she kind of saw that she had made some stuff happen, particularly within her marriage, when we talked about that. Anyway, basically, she wasn't hung up on it. She just thought it'd be really lovely to get back in touch with him, but I have no idea where he is. Obviously, I don't have his phone number. And she said, well, I can't manifest contact from him because there's no way he's got my number. We don't have to worry about that. There's all manner of ways that he can reach out to you, but you just have to take it lightheartedly. And of course, she didn't have all that back history. Yes, they had history 30 years ago, but it didn't matter. It was irrelevant now, because she'd been through marriage and had kids, and he probably had done the same, she thought, and she didn't know whether he was married or anything. And I said, all you have to do is believe in the possibility, and it's all about the feeling, all about vibration, which I bang on about all the time, but it is. And providing you're not constantly feeling like, well, it's not here, so you're vibrating lack, providing you're not doing that, you're just getting on with your life thinking, wouldn't this be cool? That's how something happens. You don't know what it will be. You might bump into a friend who starts talking about him and says, oh, he asked after you, or it could be anything. And so she was open to it. She was open to the idea that anything could happen. And to be honest, she didn't take it that seriously, and that's all for the better. And that's because she wasn't really into this. She just thought, I think she was looking for some help. And she did say to me, actually, what if I'm really not into this, it doesn't work for me, can I just what if I just paid for 1 month? And I said, that's fine. I don't care if you do that. I'm absolutely fine with people just signing up, paying £5, and if you cancel after a month, that's fine. There's absolutely no time whatsoever, because it isn't for everyone. You might come along and look at the modules and think, not for me. That's fine. There is absolutely no obligation. So once we got that set, she felt good about that, because she had that going on. But it doesn't seem fair. But please don't even worry about that. So that's what she did. I said, how could you imagine that he could reach out to you? And she said, well, I thought social media, but it's not on social media. So she was struggling a bit with how he could. I said, let's just scrap the how, because it really is not in our control. That just scrap it completely, let that go, and just get the feeling of how you would feel if he reached out to you in some way, if you heard about him, if someone said that he'd been thinking about you and thinking of contacting you. Just get that feeling. How nice would that be? I really just said, get the vibration of contact in some respect, but don't sort of be specific, just the feeling of hearing from him, really. That's kind of what we went with. So I had to explain to her how to do that, and actually it's not a difficult process. It's just finding the feeling that you already have inside of you, and even if you've never been with that person before, you can still pull a vibration of suddenly hearing from that person, because you know how you would feel if it happened, and you just tap into that. And it's a feeling of, your subconscious does not know the difference between past, present, now. It just sees everything as now. So if you can do that and then not be holding on to the outcome in any way, I mean, you can think you're not holding on to the outcome, but really if you go deep, you know there's something inside of you, because you might think, well, I'm going about my day and I'm doing stuff and I'm not thinking about them. That's not necessarily attachment. The attachment, it can kind of be there underlying it, but you normally know it's there if you sort of look for it. So, and she didn't have that, because this was just a chance thing, and she signed up to an online dating anyway, so you know she was in touch with different people that way, so she was not hung up in any way. She knew that she would meet somebody at some point. And then, I'm not kidding you, right, bear in mind she has not heard from him for 30 years. She got a Facebook friend request from him. He didn't have a Facebook account. He had just set up a Facebook account. I said he just set up a Facebook account so he could reach out to you, because he barely had any friends on there or anything like that. And she just couldn't believe it. She said, I do not believe this. How is this even possible after 30 years? And all it was a friend request. How simple is that? And obviously she accepted the friend request, and she was like, oh, what do I do now? I don't want to seem really keen. So just do what feels natural. You know, if somebody in general life, okay, if somebody reaches out to you after 30 years and you genuinely like that person, why would you not make contact with them? You would, wouldn't you? You don't then have to wait for them to do it first. Don't get hung up on that. I can't contact first, because that is a thing, you know, if you're getting your ex back and all of that. But this is a bit different. The next of 30 years ago, sent her a friend request. Of course she would contact him. Why would she not? So that's what she did. She went, wow, I can't believe this. But whatever she said, you know, I'm not sure. And basically they are in conversation now, and she sort of screenshotted some of the conversation, and she said, what do you think? And I said, I think he's quite keen. And he's not sort of going over the top, and she's not hung up. She's just super excited about it, just really enjoying it. And she said, if nothing comes of it, that's cool. If we stay friends, you know, that would be amazing, because we've got so much in common. She found out now they like lots of the same stuff. And she said, if we could just stay friends, I would be happy with that. So she has no expectation. And of course, because she has no expectation, every message he sends back is more and more. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go. I really don't know. And I don't want her to get hung up on it. I don't think she will. I really don't think she will, because she's not really into the law of attraction as such. And I don't know what she'll do now, whether she'll stay with me or not. Possibly she won't, but I don't mind. That's fine. If somebody achieves what they want to achieve and then goes off, does their own thing, cool. You know, that's what life's all about, isn't it? Just getting on with it. But because she's not particularly into it, but if you are into it and into creating all kinds of different stuff, then I think that's the people that stay with me the longest. So it's a success story, but it's also showing that you do not need to put too much work in. When you are hung up on an ex and you really have that attachment to wanting it to happen and feeling the lack of it, you will feel like you need to do a certain amount, because you will feel like you haven't done enough. If you just did what I told her to do, you wouldn't feel that that's enough, and that's fine. It has to be what feels good to you. I can't tell you that less is more. I mean, I know that less is more, but I've been doing this a really long time, and I always accept that stuff might not happen. I don't know why I do that. I do that, I think, well, I do know why I do it. I do it just to release a little bit and just get on with life as normal, and not keep looking for that outcome all of the time. But then it happens. So it is all about the feeling. It's all about feeling as if you already have it. So that's living in the end, Neville Goddard, living in the end. But it's not necessarily that you have to, well, you don't have to walk all around all day feeling like that and pretending to yourself that they are actually in your life right now, making up scenarios and all of that, which you'd start becoming resistant to. You don't need to do that, but you do need to tap into the feeling of it. It's all about feeling, absolutely all about feeling. But I really do understand why, when it's an ex and you've got a lot of stuff that happened between you and that is, and you really want them back, and you just feel like, what if I did that, it would happen, and you just feel like that's not enough. And I get it, but it is. If you could really get on board with that being enough, you'd feel a lot better eventually. But again, I do understand that. And, you know, if you're in a non-resistant state and you're doing other things, doesn't matter. Do as much or as little as you want. It's the non-resistance that's important. Anyway, there you go. I hope this was useful. Like I said, I talked about my members. My membership is £5 a month. You get one-to-one coaching support with that. And the reason I call it coaching support is if you email me one day, I won't necessarily get back to you within half an hour or an hour, because I do have quite a few members now, but I will get back to you within 2 days. That's what I'm trying to run at now. And sometimes it's a day, sometimes it is an hour later. It just depends how busy I am at the time. Also, we've developed a members hub that is going in to the members area, and it's a bit like Facebook, but inside of them it's a private members area. And it's been developed, it's complete now, but we are testing it. There's a lot of testing that needs to go on, and I need to familiarise myself with it. I knew what I wanted, but using it is different, and I don't want you to start using it and then find it's buggy and stuff. So I'm trying to iron out all the bugs, but that will be good to go soon. So, and I'm an author, I write books. So you can buy all of my books on Amazon. Wishful Thinking you can buy in paperback and on Kindle, and the rest are all Kindle. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, then I would love for you to do that. Oh, and if you haven't seen my son's channel, Harrison Ellis, which is linked below, I point you in that direction too, particularly if you are looking to get back with an ex, because all of his stuff is about that. Well, specific person, an ex back. He loves all of that stuff. So